Hi there, welcome to Markets Tomorrow right here on ED9, the Mumbai News Sun Times and Regal. And what a day it was for the markets. What a comeback. I mean, we were talking about the market sentiment being vulnerable and brittle in Thursday's session last week. And today the market was well above 8,700 for the Nifty, up about 1% plus for the benchmark and more than 3% for the broader markets. And that brings me to the top headlines. From the Lal Street, the market sees best gains in a month. Nifty closes above 8,700 on RBI rate cut hopes. Financials emerge as the top gainers while auto shares rally on robust September sales figures. Mid-cap index closes at record highs. VIX falls 9%, declines for the second straight day in a row. And ED Now is the only channel tracking the FM's Canada visit. Finance Minister Mr. Jaitley hard sells the India story to woo top dollars, says India is growing faster compared to the rest of the world. Coming back home, it was really about festive demand, lighting up auto sales for September. Maruti hits new high after it smashes estimates to report its best ever monthly sales figure. M&M notches a whopping 69% jump in tractor sales. Tata Motors records an 8% growth in sales. Meanwhile, Bajaj Auto sales figures to top expectations. And in more stock-specific action, Zee Entertainment rallied in trade as ET reported, the Economic Times that is, hinting at Subhash Chandra reviving talks with Anil Ambani's Reliance Broadcast Network to acquire the latter's radio and television business. The stock was the top-traded, most active index stock in the session. Jubilant Life Sciences also rallied to hit a fresh 52-week high after a unit of its subsidiary bagged the US FDA approval for a new drug. The drug maker is likely to launch the product in the fourth quarter of FY17 under company's registered brand name RubyCell. Not just that, the news on stocks continued thick and fast. Edelweiss soared in trade after CDPQ, which is one of North America's largest pension fund managers, acquired 20% equity stake in Edelweiss Asset Reconstruction Company, which will include investing 5,000 crores over the next 4 years. And talking about foreign interest coming in the Indian market, especially in the defense segment, FDI all the way, top dollar and top investments coming in on implementing some of the key projects signed and deals worked out. Reliance Infra rallied in trade as well after the company entered into strategic partnership with Dassault Aviation France. Total order size is about 60,000 crores. Reliance Aerospace could see 30,000 crores worth of orders coming in lieu of the Rafale deal signed between the two nations. So we had a very busy session, as you can make out. Voices lined up on the show to make sense of the markets through the course of today as well as what lies ahead in what seems like a busy week with the credit policy review slated for tomorrow. Ajay Srivastava of Dimensions Consulting will add his views. We have Mayuresh Joshi, fund manager, Angel Broking, talking about his investment ideas at these levels and the comeback the market has staged. And Manav Chopra will help our viewers with trading strategies going ahead into trade tomorrow. The question that we are asking is, will the RBI policy, as it unveils its first policy under the new MPC model, help the market rally sustain? The market rally that we witnessed today, will the RBI policy fuel that rally further ahead? Mayuresh as well as Manav, good evening. Thanks very much for taking out the time to speak with us. Manav, first to you, because this was a technical move and a complete U-turn to what we did in Thursday's session last week. How do you look at the rally?
Yes, absolutely. I think it has been a very good counter move to the fall that we saw on the 28th of September. And most importantly, since the market has closed above the psychological level of 8,700, which definitely gives a lot of breather to the bulls, I think in the near term, the support of 8,600 and 8,550 should hold in the near term, in spite of the volatility that is expected in the near term. But one thing is important to note that, the undertone of the market is extremely bullish, as the Nifty even enters to an important support or the daily oversold areas. We immediately see some active and aggressive buying happen. So I think in the near term we will expect a good momentum to continue on the upside. The immediate targets we are looking is close to 8850, 8900, and thereafter, once if it breaches that, definitely we'll be eyeing towards the all-time highs.
Oh, yes, indeed. Mayuresh, are we back on track?
Afternoon, Tanveer. Largely, I think the fundamentals for the Indian economy still remain extremely strong and robust from a long-term perspective. Whether you talk about foreign exchange reserve, whether you talk about the government moves, the reform processes, the policy formulations. But again, I think global volatility is something that can be a cause of concerns from a short-term perspective. Having said that, Tanveer, again, I think in the next few weeks, the Q2 numbers will start. Though not expecting a great set to come through, I think the markets are preempting numbers to improve Q3 onwards. To a large extent, expectations of revival in corporate earnings along with the private capex picking up is probably going to keep the fundamentals of the Indian economy extremely strong. What happens tomorrow in terms of an RBI rate cut as well, because the markets are factoring in the 25 bips, is something to be keenly watched out for. But the commentary thereof will be far more important going ahead, and what happens on the global scene, specifically what the Fed does after the US presidential election. So I think the volatility will probably stay from a near-term perspective, but I remain extremely optimistic on the Indian markets from a long-term perspective.
Yes, indeed. Long-term, everything is looking good for the Indian market. Short-term, it's really the value opportunity at play which investors need to take advantage of. So let's talk about the buzzing stocks. Let's talk about some of those opportunities, and there were enough and more in the market session. It was a very, very busy day of trade, filled with a lot of stock-specific news, company-specific developments, and that got reflected in the underlying market breadth, which was very healthy, well in the favor of advancing stocks. Vivek joins in to talk about the key stock highlights of the day. Vivek.
Well, we're talking about three stocks today that were very, very active in the trading session. First up, Reliance Infra. After the company announced a joint venture with Dassault, we just went ahead and did a little bit of analysis and spoke to a couple of people who actually track the company quite closely. So we're looking at some of the financials and how Reliance Infra is going to benefit from this particular joint venture. Total order size coming in close to 60,000 crore rupees, and Reliance Aerospace could see almost 30,000 crore worth of orders coming in. This actually includes the 50% offset clause, and if you're talking about the time period of the order, it's expected to be executed within the next year itself. If we're talking about the defense business, generally it has the margins in the range of 15 to 20%, and if you're looking at it, what they're analyzing is the fact that Reliance Infra could see EBITDA in the range of between 4,000 to 5,000 crore, so quite a big boost coming in for Reliance Infra. Edelweiss was another stock in the focus today, and if you're looking at it, one of Canada's biggest pension funds, which is called CDPQ, actually went ahead and is picking up almost a 20% stake in this particular company. Remember, Edelweiss has an AUM of almost 29,300 crore rupees, and which was up almost 44% year on year. A very growing business for Edelweiss, looking at it. So if you're looking at the holdings for the ARC business of Edelweiss, right now it will be CDPQ holding around 20%, Scandinavian Insurance holding around 4%, Indian Investments around 16%, and the balance is held by the Edelweiss Group. Lastly, Tirumala Chemicals, another chemical stock in focus today, up over 19% in the session, traded at a fresh lifetime high for the stock. And if you're looking at the volumes, very, very strong set of volumes, almost 6 times the last 5-day average.
Thanks, Vivek, for that. Let's delve into those stocks straight away. Mahesh, I'll start off with the big defense deal for Reliance Infra, the joint venture that they've laid out with Dassault Aviation. Game-changing move, and do you think that this would perhaps re-rate the stock further from here? I mean, Reliance Infra is pretty much, chugging along pretty well in the course of its business, but this would be a major milestone for them?
Again, I think the roadmap was always laid out to probably go after defense deals. The offset clause and the deal that has got through to Reliance Infra, yes, I think it's a huge deal, but again, I think the revenues will come back-ended. Secondly, on the core business model itself, and what really happens with the sale of its road assets for Reliance Infra, the Mumbai distribution power stake sale as well, I think these will be key parameters to probably watch out for, and that is going to be a key for the stock going ahead as well. The overhangs related to the Delhi distribution regulated business and what probably happens in terms of the core enterprise value that the roads asset can deliver will be key. But yes, I think no doubt in the opinion, again, I think the deal that has come through is substantial in size, but again, I think the revenues will be back-ended for Reliance Infra.
Do you think Edelweiss ARC would be a re-rating candidate? I don't know whether you can comment on this one, given that you represent a brokerage.
No, I won't be able to comment on that one.
Okay. But I just want to highlight Edelweiss and perhaps get a view from Manav as well on the stock. The ARC has been touted as a big trigger for the company's earnings and diversified business model going forward. Edelweiss, if we can bring up the 6-month chart as well as the year-to-date chart, you know, it's been in a zone of its own, really. Many on the street are looking at this story as one of a big value in the market. 110%, I mean, the stock is more than doubled from the level we started off the year with. And it's been a strong show, so to speak. So there are a lot of strong believers in their business model among market participants. And with CDPQ acquiring 20% stake in the company, it seems like this one would be an apt re-rating candidate. But on the charts, do you see more headroom? 8% up, Manav?
Yes, in fact, what we've also seen, you know, the stock recently has already recovered sharply after the decline from its peak of 125. I think in the near term, the stock has a good potential. It has been in a very good, strong uptrend, and in fact, the kind of a rally that the stock has witnessed, like you mentioned, in past 6 months, I think somebody who's holding on to the stock should definitely continue to do so. Even for a short-term trader, can look to enter in this into the stock at the current levels, keeping a stop loss below 115, because looking at the immediate basis, I think we can expect high targets of 135 to 140, but eventually I think going forward the stock has a good potential even for a long-term perspective.
So if you're looking at a value proposition, you know, where the risk-adjusted reward is favorable, as Manav believes, you know, on the technicals, on the charts, it seems like the business is on track, and that's getting reflected in the stock price performance too. Now, auto sales, very quickly before we head into a break, and I want your top bet there, Mayuresh, after the September sales numbers came by, value adjusted return, where do you think is the highest?
Again, I think the inventory push through has started happening because the festive season is around the corner, and that is really getting reflected in terms of the dispatch numbers for most auto companies. Having said that, probably my conviction still lies with the top quality names. So again, if you are holding on to qualitative stocks within the two-wheeler space, something like a Hero MotoCorp, Eicher Motors, which is again a mix between TWO and the MHCV side of the business with its Volvo tie-up, you should continue holding on to these stocks. Within the four-wheeler space itself, with the kind of dynamic changes that we probably witnessed in terms of volume growth improvement seen specifically for stocks like Maruti on the domestic business and for Tata Motors on its overseas business, specifically JLR, Europe and America, I think these businesses are sustainable from a medium to long-term perspective. So I think you should hold on to qualitative stocks if you have them in your portfolio.
Okay. Vivek already highlighted how Tirumala Chemicals in the specialty chemicals business is gaining a lot of traction. The stock was up a full 19%, 5.5 times average, 5-day average volumes on the counter, and a 6-month return is telling of the kind of interest there is on Tirumala Chemicals or just the specialty chemicals business. We had Dr. Mark Mobius also from Templeton Asset Management last week talk about how he's interested in this segment. Specialty chemicals is seeming like the way forward for a lot of foreign investors to take advantage of. And then, of course, Jubilant Life on the back of that US FDA nod for a key drug, Rubidium 82 generator. And as the management pointed out, it would be not just revenue accretive, but also a big margin contributor to their overall performance in FY17 and FY18, and which is why the market gave that stock a thumbs up of 6.5% on the back of this deal. Tell you what, take a very short break. Here are some important market opinion on the road ahead from the markets from these levels, and when we come back, we will full tilt a focus on tomorrow's credit policy review and what that would mean for the markets.
Investors are far more confident than they were maybe in the past that every dip needs to be bought. Although having said that, Thursday was not exactly a good day because they got caught short on the settlement date, they got caught short on the rollover date. So to that extent, the market became a lot more volatile. But I think by and large, the theme remains the same, the players remain the same, a lot of complacency at this point of time, and there will be sectors which will boil over, I think, which will trouble investors over time. but you need to be careful as to how exposed are you to the sectors. I think this is a time when look at the portfolio, like from Maruti looks much more safer bet than perhaps many other in auto stocks, or maybe you want to relook at the NBFC portfolio and say, do you want to lighten up a little bit on the overexposed, overpriced companies? So I think this is also a time when corporation sets in to relook at a portfolio a little more actively, because otherwise you tend to go along till some crack happens and you tend to say, why didn't you look at the portfolio with the new eyes?
The credit policy review under the MPC regime, the Monetary Policy Committee regime, is slated to come out with its first policy statement tomorrow. The meeting is underway right now. It's over the course of the 3rd and the 4th, which is today and tomorrow, that the MPC would deliberate on what they need to do with rates going forward. The market is divided, but Poonam has a quick run through on what her ET Now poll is indicating. Poonam?
Well, this is a tug of war between a no rate cut and a rate cut of 25 bips from RBI policy. In fact, nearly around 44% of the respondents expect a 25 bips rate cut, but as much as 52% of the respondents do expect a status quo. An outside chance of 50% rate cut is not ruled out. In fact, this being the first policy by the new RBI governor as well as by the MPC committee, the entire focus would be on how the new MPC committee in fact interprets the CPI inflation target of 4%. Plus and minus 2%. Not just that, the focus would also be in terms of the process of deriving at the decision. Besides that, of course, majority of the economists do expect the policy tone to be accommodative to neutral. Nearly around 55% of the respondents expect just about a 25 bips rate cut from now onwards to the end of FY17, and a 40% expect at least a 50 bips rate cut from now onwards until the rest of FY17 with a no CRR cut. In fact, the other important parameters to be watched out for would be how the entire committee in fact balances the growth and inflation dynamics. Will the new MPC committee, or with rather even the RBI, be more growth oriented? Besides that, the assessment in terms of both CPI as well as core CPI, commentary in terms of the banking system stressed assets and policies related to that. Besides that, of course, commentary in terms of FCNRB redemptions as well as monetary transmission, and of course the liquidity situation. Will we see any shift from moving on from the liquidity neutral situation or not will also be a key thing to be watched out for. Besides that, of course, the RBI's interpretation in terms of global risks. As of now, the tug of war between a no rate cut and a rate cut continues.
Our economists believe that there is one 25 basis point rate cut which is more likely to happen in December than in October, but we still can't completely rule out the chance of a 25 basis point rate cut in the October policy. I think from a market standpoint, the market is clearly quite positioned for a rate cut in this October policy. We've seen the movement of the interest rates and the yields in the government bond market. I think they are all indicating that market does believe that there is a very high possibility of a rate cut in the October policy.
But I think today the market is also looking in terms of the RBI actually lowering the rates in this month itself. So we at Care Ratings are expecting the rate cut to happen in December if the inflation numbers look all right. But I think there are expectations in certain quarters that the rate could be lowered on October 4th. So I think that's one of the reasons why we are also seeing the yields going in the downward direction.
There is an increased probability of a rate cut of 25 basis points in October. But in terms of our own thought process, we think that the bigger chance is for a December rate cut than an October rate cut. For one simple reason is that the RBI would have to sort of factor in all the other perspectives, including the global global developments in terms of the US presidential elections, etc.
One doesn't expect remittances to be affected adversely. I don't think the impact is universal. It's not a cause for worry.
All right, that's of course a quick roundup of all that you need to know from tomorrow's credit policy review under the MPC model. Mahesh, I wanted to talk about particularly the financial names, and do you think that if what the market expects, which, like you pointed out, is a 25 basis points rate cut, then that would mean a sustained rally in banking stocks?
So largely again, Tanvir, as I mentioned, I think 25 bips is something that the street is factoring at this point of time. So if a rate cut does come to that extent, I think the street probably has factored that in terms of expectations going into the policy. But again, largely over the medium term, the larger private sector banks look like a very attractive proposition to us. So do selective NBFCs. So NBFCs which have just got payment bank licenses or something into the housing finance core segment itself, I think the growth rate in terms of earnings can be quite reasonable over the next couple of years. So I think these are the pockets that we'll be probably looking at, irrespective of a rate cut. If the rate cut does not happen and if the stock's correct, it becomes a good opportunity to start nibbling at these stocks.
Right, Mahesh, very quickly, your investment ideas then?
So at this point of time, I think I'm liking a stock called Mirza International. It's a footwear stock, predominantly known for its brand Red Tape in India. The domestic sales have held up pretty well for the company, and our own expectations is that 24% growth rate over the next couple of years. Within the export markets itself, 70 to 75% contribution of the total top line does come through that segment, and within that segment itself, the UK market contributes significantly. It's got a very decent market share in the UK market itself of 25% odd. The acquisition that Mirza has done of Genesis Footwear largely will aid its EPS by 6 to 7% over the next 2 to 3 years, and our own sense is that it's got a better margin profile and the capacity goes up from 5.4 million units to 6.4 million units. Having said that, I think on a consolidated basis the performance should be anywhere between 11 to 12% on the top line over the next couple of years, and equal performance on the bottom line. So our own sense is that EBITDA margins should show steady improvement to 18.5%, and the company should be able to clock an EPS of around 8 rupees for FY18. So we largely remain optimistic on Mirza International from the footwear space.
Okay, very quickly, Manav, very quickly, your strategies for tomorrow?
Yeah, I have two buy calls. My first call is a buy on Mahindra and Mahindra's. The stock has formed a very strong reversal formation from its recent lows, and it's indicating a strong rally in the near-term perspective. The stop loss can be placed at 1420 on the lower side for an upside target of 1520. My second buy call is on Dabur. The stock has seen a very good base formation and a good reversal formation after a series of declines, so we do expect a good rally for this stock also. The stop loss for Dabur is at 272, and we expect an upside target of 300.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks very much for taking out the time to speak with us, and thanks very much also for sharing with us your insights to the market. We'll take a break then, wrap up markets tomorrow on that note. As we do so, hear our Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, on his 7-day official visit to Canada and the United States, talk about India's potential as one of the top bets within emerging markets.
So I have a series of meetings lined up with them tomorrow with all these investors because India has a good story to tell. And compared to the rest of the world, India is moving much faster, and therefore the options for investors also to invest in the world are today quite limited. And India offers those opportunities. Our interest rates and the likely returns on those investments is going to be much higher than what they can get elsewhere. GST will certainly make India more tax compliant, because if your indirect tax revenues move up and everything gets recorded into the system, now the direct tax income resulting out of that can also be calculated.